Alright guys, this is your first video for the semester. It's 1.2a, Relations and Functions. Make sure that you are taking notes. I have a couple of vocabulary words that you need to know. The first one is relation, so it's a comparison between two or more sets of values. And you can be comparing anything, so we could be talking about, you know, the number of students in the classroom and their favorite donut. So I could have a list of everybody's name and then their favorite donut next to each other. And it's just when we're comparing pieces of information that are related. Okay, now a function, it is a relation, but it's a more specific type of relation. It's one where each input, so your input is your domain. Remember we talked about your Rhodey and your Dixie. So each input corresponds to one and only one output, which is your range. Now, that gets kind of confusing. The one thing that you need to know is that your x values cannot repeat. They can never repeat, and if they do, they have to have the exact same y value. If you have x values that repeat and they have different y values, so if you're looking at some ordered pairs and it's like 2 and 3 and 2 and 5, okay, that's no bueno. Okay, your x values cannot repeat. Those are your x's right there. They repeat, you can't have it. Now, if you have them where they have the exact same y, like you had this 2 and 3, and then you had 2 and 3 again, that's okay, all right, because it's the same point values. So if your x's repeat, the y's have to be the same. But when you're looking for stuff, what you're looking for is, repeating x values. Now, there's two different ways if you can tell if something's a function. If you have ordered pairs, or if you have a table, you're looking for repeating x values. If you have a graph, that's where you want to use your vertical line test, and I'll go over all of this in the video. Okay, just a reminder, your domain are all of your input values, or your x. Your range are all of your output values, usually your y. So make sure you know these. You might want them in your notes. They will come up again. All right, so we're going to go over a couple of examples. So say we are collecting data on age and height in your class, and you make a list of all the students in your class. This is kind of what I was talking about. So say you have Tyler and Jennifer and Ramon and Juanito, whatever. Okay, and we want to get their height. Well, let's say Tyler is 8 feet tall. He's a giant. And Jenny is 5'5". Ramon is 5'2", and Juan is 5'3". Okay, so we have all this information here. Okay, we can make these, ordered pairs here because they correspond to one another. Now, when you have information, in order to determine whether it's a relation or a function, you need to see what information you can pull from the comparison of that data. So, based off of a list of people and their heights, would we be able to predict someone's height based off of their age? So let's say Tyler is 17 and Jenny is 16 and Ramon is 16 and Juan is 17. Okay, based off of these ages, would we be able to predict someone else's age or someone else's height based off their age? So let's say Robert is over here and Robert is 16 years old. Can I predict his height based off of this information? Well, no, right? That all depends on genetics and what shoes you're wearing and whatever, okay? So, no, we can't do that. Would we be able to predict age based on height? So let's say I have this random person over here who's 5'4". Can we tell how old they are based off of their height? Well, no, not really, right? Because, again, that all depends. So if you have information that's related, that corresponds to something, but you can't predict anything, you can't pull any kind of pattern from it, then it's just a relation. So this example here, this is a relation. It's not a function because you can't predict any information based off of your data that you have. And that's what we're doing in this section. We're trying to determine if information is a relation or a function. And we're also going to talk a little bit about domain and range. So I have values here. Remember, your domain is your input and your range is your output. Because this isn't a function, I don't really have any input or output here. If you wanted to, you could have like all of your domain be everything on the left and all of your range be everything on the right, and you could list them if you wanted to. But that's not really something you're going to have with data like this. If you have ordered pairs, which I'll go into, I'll be able to show you how to note that. I have a second example over here. Let's say we're selling candy bars at $3 each. Okay. Can we predict information based off of what we're given? So we know we're selling candy bars at $3 each. If I sell 2 candy bars, I know for a fact that I'm going to make $6. If I sell 5 bars, I know that I'm going to make $15. Okay, I can sell 20 bars and I know I'm going to make $60, right? This is information that I can get just by knowing that each candy bar is going to be $3. So then we ask ourselves, okay, what information can we predict from here? Can we predict total sales? Well, yeah, we can if we know how many, bars we're going to sell. Can we predict how many candy bars we need to reach a certain profit? Well, we can do that too. If I need to sell $90, if I need to earn $90, how many candy bars do I need? Okay, well, I can divide that by 3. Okay, and that's going to give me 30 bars. I need to sell 30 bars in order to make $90. So I know that I can predict information based off of what I have. So this here is actually going to be a function because I can predict information. My domain is going to be all of my input, well, which is my independent and dependent. I know that the price or the total that I earn is going to depend on the bars that I sell. So this is actually going to be your independent and this is going to be your dependent. So that's your X and that's your Y. So my domain here is going to be the number of candy bars and my range is going to be, the dollars that I sell, right? So it's just being able to identify this. I have a few more examples. So here we have a set of ordered pairs or points, and we need to determine if it's a function. I'm going to do the domain and range first. So my domain is all of my input or all of my X values. So I'm just going to list them. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's my domain. My range is going to be all of your Y values. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, and 12. So we also need to determine, is it a function, yes or no? So remember, if you go back to your notes, we know that a function cannot have any repeating X values. So I don't even care about this for right now. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look. Do I have any values that repeat? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. So then, yes, it is a function. My X's don't repeat. Okay. If you wanted to plot out the points, you would find that you'd actually have, a graph that looks something like that, and you would find that it was the function, f of x is equal to 3x. And if you wanted to do your vertical line test, remember, you take a vertical line and you run it left to right, and if it only crosses the graph once, then it passes it. Okay, so as we move it left to right, it passes the vertical line test. So you know that yes, it is a function. For the last example here, you have this given graph, x is equal to y squared. For graphs, you always want to make sure that you use your vertical line test, okay, to tell if it's a function or not. So you get your vertical line, and you're going to want to move it left to right. Well, right away you notice, okay, here I'm touching 2 parts of the graph at the same time, so it does not pass the vertical line test. It's not a function. Okay, so not a function. We can still find our domain and range here. So remember, domain is your X values, how far left to right. Just going to write it in interval notation. So it goes all the way to 0, close value, to infinity to the right. My range, it's going to go down to negative infinity and also up to positive infinity, open on each end. And there you go. That's all we're doing for this section. You need to be able to determine if set of ordered pairs or a graph is a function, or and determine the domain and range. Here are a few practice problems. Make sure you copy them down and have them ready when you walk into class tomorrow. If you have any questions, hit me up on Remind or ask me during lunch or tomorrow in class.